Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football Friday afternoon. The Miami Hurricanes commitment sweatshirt comes back on, and Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes putting an exclamation point on the spring transfer portal window as former Rutgers linebacker Mohamed Toure committing to the Miami Hurricanes. Many of the Miami fans who've been rocking with the boys the last couple of weeks know my take on Mohamed Toure. If you get the version of Mohamed Toure that we saw in 2023 prior to the season-ending injury he suffered in 2024, you are no question about it getting a all-conference off-ball linebacker in the 2025 year. And the thing that stands out to me, not only about Mohamed Toure, but really what Mario Cristobal and the staff have done in the spring portal window is there's been a lot of intent. Like they are not only looking to bring in very good football players, but they're looking to bring in good football players at positions they wanted to address. And we talk about this all the time. There's a lot of different ways to go about building your roster. In my opinion, you want to build the bulk of your roster at the high school ranks, which Miami has done. And you want to use the transfer portal to kind of fill in the cracks. From a year to year basis, you analyze, hey, what are the positions that we immediately need to address going into next year? Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes have done a phenomenal job doing that. Whereas, hey, we need another off-ball linebacker. We need some pieces in the secondary. They weren't going out and wasting time recruiting a bunch of offensive linemen because Miami didn't need any more offensive linemen. They've been very intentful in terms of not only bringing in good players, but bringing in good players at positions they wanted to address. This is kind of capping off what I think was a very productive spring transfer portal window for Miami. Like the only knock you can have about what Miami did was not landing AJ Halsey, and I can't even blame the staff for how that situation went down. I think if you're Miami, you're almost kind of happy that you kind of washed your hands with that situation. Fired up to get into Mohamed Toure. Many of y'all know how big of a fan of him I am. Before we get into it, as always, to the Miami Hurricane fans, number one, let it fly in the comment section. Would love to hear how the Miami Hurricane fans are feeling about this one. More importantly, just want to say thank you to you guys. It's been really fun for me personally breaking down all the spring portal commitments, talking about the targets, and the amount of support that y'all have shown the fellas has been amazing. Can't thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. Now, there's two things that I love about Mohamed Toure's game. One, he is a heat-seeking missile football finding linebacker. And at the end of the day, that's what you're looking for at your off-ball linebacker position. We want guys that can go find the ball carrier. And when they do find the ball carrier, they make tackles in space. Mohamed Toure is very good at both, right? 90 plus tackles in the 2023 year for Rutgers with only a 10% missed tackle rate. That is very rare to find a linebacker that makes the amount of plays that Mohamed Toure made for Rutgers in 2023, but only missed 10% of his tackles. Very, very impressive right off the bat. And that was something that Miami struggled with last year. You talk about their off-ball linebackers, I wouldn't say routinely, but pretty damn consistently missing tackles in space. Mohamed Toure is not one of those guys. Now, the second part, and this is kind of what fires me up because Corey Heatherman knows how to use Mohamed Toure. I think he's a little bit more than just a traditional off-ball linebacker. He's 6'2", 240. He's a guy that rips off the edge in the pass rush. One of the more productive pass rushing linebackers that you're going to see in the entire country. And Corey Heatherman knows that because he saw it firsthand from Mohamed Toure in 2023 when he was coaching him at Rutgers. You look at him as a pass rusher, 10 TFLs, 4.5 sacks. That doesn't even really, I think, give you the whole picture. Rush the passer almost 140 times off the edge for Rutgers in 2023. 17 quarterback hurries, a 16% pass rush win rate. I mean, he is just as an effective edge rusher as a lot of the Miami Hurricane edge rushers on this team. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can use Mohamed Toure, right? You can put him in the A and B gap and have him rush the passer, kind of mugging the line of scrimmage. You can put him out there on the edge. That's what I love most about this kid is when he's fully healthy in that 2023 year, you can use them in so many different ways. And those are the kind of off-ball linebackers, at least in my opinion, that really have a big impact on your defense. Kind of reminds me of Kiko Mawinoa back in 2023, right? There's a little bit of drop off in his play in 2024, but back in 2023, he was much more than an off ball linebacker for Miami. He did a lot of different things at a high level for that football team. Now, again, I think you have to address the 2 season-ending injuries that Mohamed Toure has suffered. He's been a guy that's been at the college football landscape since 2019. So I think that's another thing you like. Like you're putting a veteran linebacker that, even though he's had 2 season-ending injuries and hasn't played that many snaps because of those injuries, he's been around the sport for a very long time. And you look at that off-ball linebacker room and say, it is a relatively young linebacker room for Miami. So you're bringing in a guy that's, kind of the grandpa of the unit and helping guys like Bobby Pruitt or a guy like Kellen Wiley become really good football players themselves. That's another thing you like. Now, addressing the medicals, which is a conversation you have to have with Mohamed Toure. From what and I'm not an insider, but from what I've read on the various message boards and from insiders, it sounds like the medicals were pretty dang clean. And I would guess that why this process might have taken as long as it did, took a couple other visits. I think Miami was doing their due diligence too. Like, hey, we love what you put on film in 2023. We love the football player that you were in 2023. We want to make sure you still can be that same football player for us in 2025. I'm guessing because this was a 2 to 3 week process, Miami did their due diligence in terms of making sure Mohamed Toure can be that kind of football player in 2025. And I think, secondly, it's a really good fit. Not only in terms of the experience, not only in terms of Miami was looking for another off-ball linebacker, in terms of Miami's got a lot of smaller, undersized, rangier linebackers, which I like personally. Like, I like athleticism in my off-ball linebacker room. I want speed. I want sideline to sideline versatility. But you probably want that true Mike, that guy that can stack blocks, shed blocks, and go make plays. That's Mohamed Toure. He is that true, little bit more of a bruising linebacker that provides a little bit more of that physicality that you're looking for. Whereas a lot of the other linebackers in the room, whether it's Kamal Bond or Wesley Bissain, more weak side backers, I think it's a really good fit too. And you look at the depth chart now, specifically in this front seven, and say, look, from what I know, this is just from what I went off of watching him in 2023. He's starting linebacker for the Miami Hurricanes. I probably would guess that your starting linebackers against Notre Dame are going to be Wesley Bissain, Mohamed Toure, with Kamal Bonner probably rotating in, especially with Wesley Bissain. Mohamed Toure is going to help this football team a lot, that week 1 matchup against Notre Dame, because we know that Notre Dame is going to want to run the football a lot. 12 personnel, try to establish the line of scrimmage. Having a linebacker like Mohamed Toure that can go fit the run and take on blocks is going to be big. And it's going to be big, especially when you look at like where Miami wants to go. Like, you're going to see some of those teams, whether it's a Clemson, whether it's a team in the college football playoffs, you want to make sure you have the bodies to match up with some of those elite teams in college football in terms of what they want to do along the line of scrimmage. Mohamed Toure is one of those guys. This is, again, and I think what allowed Miami to take a risk, because you could say this is maybe a little bit of a risky move taking Mohamed Toure coming off a season-ending injury. Like, landing Kamal Bonner allows you to take that risk. Say Mohamed Toure is maybe still recovering or maybe needs the first month to kind of fully get back to form. Well, you got some other linebackers in the room that you trust. If you hit on Mohamed Toure, you get the version of Mohamed that we saw in 2023. You just added an all-conference linebacker to your football team, which was a position of concern going in. I would suspect that this is the last addition that Miami's made. And to kind of sum it up and just evaluate what Miami did, I mean, it starts probably at wide receiver, where you wanted to add a little bit of a veteran presence. You did that with Tony Johnson and Keelan Marion. You added a third running back that I think can legitimately contribute to this football team in 2025. And I think a lot of people will scoff at a running back 3. With how much we expect Miami to run the football in 2025, you want to add as many horses in that stable as you can get in the running back room. And Tremar Brown is that third running back that you can give 15 to 20 carries to in a football game. Then you go to the defensive side of the football. We addressed the safety with Jacoby Thomas. You address the linebacker position with Mohamed Toure and Kamal Bonney. You grab Keontae Scott, who I think could play safety for Miami. The only question you might have is, hey, are we deep enough in that middle of that defensive line? Which I would agree. I know some of the Miami fans let that fly in the comment section yesterday. It might be a little bit of a concern, but you also have guys like Ruben Bain or Akeem Mesidor that can be versatile, can probably play a little 3-tech if you need them to at some point in 2025. It's go time. I think Miami's put the pieces together, and that's all you can ask for. Now it's time for Mario Cristobal and this coaching staff to put it together, but you've given yourself a shot from the roster that we see on paper to go compete at a damn high level in 2025. We'll close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.